Welcome back to the Terry and Jesse Show. I have some big news for our listeners about Pope Leo the 14th. You expect us to do research on him, and Jess and I are reading everything. Well, I have a friend who's been involved with the Institute on Religious Life in Chicago for 40 years, and I had him to do some research. Now, Father Day was the director of the Institute. This is where Fulton Sheen went, Father Benedict.
D-A-Y, right?
Yeah, D-A-Y.
D-A-Y?
Yeah, D-A-Y. He was the director of the Institute before Father Downey, who I knew Father Downey for years. So this was, in the 70s and 80s. And so he was an Augustinian monk. So he was the spiritual director for Pope Benedict, Pope Leo the 14th now, when he was a youngster. Went to the high school, Augustinian school for becoming a priest. And so there was a lot of influence by this Father Day. So that's good because all the good guys would go to the Institute of Religious in Chicago. Father Hardin was there. So, it's a good sign that he was getting good formation. That's what I'm trying to convey. So much so that in 2010, when Pope Leo was the young archbishop, priest, he found out that Father Day had died in Chicago. He took a plane ride to be at that funeral, which we have video of. And so I'm only giving this information, Jesse, to our listeners because, again, it shows that the formation he got not just from his pious parents, but as a youngster, he had Father Day from the Institute on Religious Life, was just solid as a rock to form him in his religious vocation as an Augustinian priest. So to me, it's all making sense. It's looking better every day. I do more research on who Pope Leo the 14th is. When I look back of how he was formed, it makes total sense that he's saying things that he's saying today. So I wanted to get that report back to our listeners.
Terry, also, I want our brothers and sisters in Christ out there.
Yeah.
Before you put something out, verify it, because there's a lot of AI stuff that people are trying to put out about Pope Leo the 14th, that he said this or didn't say that. Like there's this one that people keep sending to me, and I keep telling them, please verify this. I don't believe it's true. I believe it's AI, where it says Pope Leo the 14th announces new role for Cardinal Sarah, and it's surprising.
Oh, yeah. No.
Yeah.
You're going to get all that. Yeah.
That's making its rounds on the internet. There's no verification for that. There's no source for that. Quit putting stuff out that's it's AI generated, or somebody who's just trying to play games with Catholics. So you got to watch what you put out. Make sure it comes from a credible source.
And I'll give you one more. They said that Pope Leo, when he was the cardinal, met with Cardinal Burke before the conclave, which both are canon lawyers, and they both are canon lawyers know that you can't be doing that. That's against the church laws. So all this stuff that you hear, like I said, for me, I had to research this. I had a hypothesis that he had some connection with the Institute because they're in Chicago. So what did I do? I called a guy who worked there 40 years. Over the weekend, he researched it, got back with me before the show and said, yeah, Terry, Father Day did this, that. He went to his funeral because he was so tied into Father Day and the Institute. So that shows me I got my documentation from the Institute on Religious Life, which was right in Pope Benedict's backyard growing up as a young boy. So you got to be careful.
As a kid, the Pope often played pretend mass.
Oh, yeah.
His older brother, John Prevost, told the Chicago Tribune he would set up a table draped in a white cloth and recite prayers. He did that all the time. He took it totally serious. It was not a game, John said.
See, that tells you again, Jesse, I know many of my friends who were priests who did that very thing. From an early time, he knew he was called to be a priest. So I think that is just beautiful. Number 13. He graduated from Villanova University outside of Philadelphia in 1977. He was a math major and also studied philosophy, which was good. Villanova later awarded him the Honorary Doctorate of Humanities. Let me just mention something. One of my friends, who's a priest, Father Ed Broom, who's with the Oblates of the Virgin Mary, great priest. He's written many books. Everybody knows him here in Southern California as a holy priest. He was in the school, going to school with the future Pope. And he was part of a pro-life group with the future Pope. And he said to me last night at this meeting, not to me, to the group. He said, folks, the Pope, I know him. He's a man of few words, but when he speaks, you need to shut up and listen because he's got a powerful intellect and will, and he loves the church. And I thought, if Father Ed Broom said that, that's a good sign for the Holy Father that we're going to be in good shape.